Hello everyone, welcome to Cloudy ML. So today in this particular video, we will be analyzing the data set that is of the Zomato. Zomato is like a food delivery company. Like everyone knows, Zomato is a food delivery company. So we have a data set which is based on the city of Bangalore and the orders placed in the city Bangalore. So let's analyze the data. We'll try to gather whatever information we can gather from the data sets. So whatever information I have gathered from the data set, like you can also repeat those similar steps, and further with some part of analysis which I have missed, you can perform the analysis on your own also and show the results. So at the end, I'll be having one question also for you, so that you can, so that like we'll understand that how the audience is doing with the project, and like whether you're commenting or not on the project. So let's start with the project. Uh, in the first starting code, like I'll be importing the basic libraries, which is pandas, matplotlib, seaborn, and numpy. So after importing the libraries, I have imported warnings. What this piece of code will do, like whatever warnings we get in our code, okay, it will just ignore those warnings and it will not show you any like warning errors. Next step, I'm importing the dataset using the pandas library, that is pandas.readcsv, and the file name is zomato.csv. Let's check the head of the dataset. What does the head show? Head will give you the first five rows of the dataset. So this is the dataset which is given to us. Like you can see here, we have many columns here in the data set. So let's look at the columns. What columns we have in the data set? We have URL, which is basically the URL of the Zomato. We have the address, name, online order. Online order is basically yes or no, whether the restaurant accepts online orders or not. Okay. Next, we have book table, whether the restaurant allows table booking or not. Rate, that is the ratings. Votes. This votes is what? This votes is basically the count of rating, like how many customers gave rating to this particular restaurants. Phone is the phone number. Location is the location of the restaurant. Restaurant type is like whether it is casual dining, it is a quick bite or cafe types. And we have dish light. So this is the some dishes of the restaurants which the audience is, which the customers of the restaurants are liking. We have cuisines is basically this South Indian, North Indian, what type it is. We have approximate cost for two people, review list, menu item, list in type and city. So these are the columns. So first we'll remove all those columns which are not required for our analysis purpose. In any data analysis project, first thing you have to do is check the data set, what all columns you have, and like remove all the unnecessary column, like this URL column. You can remove this column. We will not be performing, we can't perform any analysis on the URL column. Okay, we'll remove this column. So we are dropping the URL column, we are dropping the address column, as we already have a column called location. We are removing dropping the phone number, menu item, list in type, list in city. So we'll be dropping them in from the axis 1. So I have used the drop function of pandas, and with the axis 1, that is the columns. So after dropping, let's look at the data set first, how it looks like. Data.head. So this is the data set with the dropped columns. Okay, you can drop reviews list also, as it will not help in any analysis. Okay, next we will be checking the shape of the data. We have around 51,717 rows and 11 columns. Now we'll check the null values, how many null values we have. So we have many null values, okay, in our data set. So we'll be performing the analysis, like we'll be dropping the null values also as per the columns later. Let's start with the data cleaning process. First, let's check how many columns have null values. So these are the columns. I have used a list comprehension here. For I in data.columns, it will iterate the columns and it will check column wise. Like if the sum of the null values in any particular column is greater than 0, it will add that column into this list. So these are the columns which are having null values. Now in the next piece of code, we'll be checking the percentage of the null values. So you can see like dish liked is a column which is having the highest number of null values. So this also you can write using the list comprehension, but I have written it using a the for loop method. Like it will iterate the features na. Features na is what, these are the features na which are having null values. And what we are using is we are using np.round. Like it will give you the round of result. If the sum of, like this is for the sum of the null values, like how many null values you have divided by the length of the data set into 100, and up to 4 decimal places I'm taking. So the percentage of null values in our data set. Now let's perform the analysis first on the ratings column. Okay, let's check the unique values in our column, in ratings column. So in the ratings column we have 4.1. So this is the rating. 4.1 is the rating out of 5. So we'll remove this /5 from here so that the result, the rating is like, in a proper manner. And upon 5, all the ratings are upon 5. So what we'll do is we'll drop the null values from here. As we can see, we have null values, nan values. We'll drop it. We have used here in place equals to true so that the changes are applied without, changing the name of the data set. And subset is equals to rate and x is equals to, so like it will remove row wise, like it will remove the rows which are having null values. Next, what I have done, I have applied a function on this rate column. Okay, I have applied a function. This is like individually the records will go to the split function and it will take the record, it will split by slash. So the result of this will be a list which will be having 4.1 as one element and 5 as another element. And I'm taking the first element, that is the rated part. This is the rating part. Okay, this 4.1 here is the rating part, like in this case 3.8, 3.7, 3.6, and I'm strip function is for removing the spaces. Okay, so let's check the rate column once. Okay, how it looks, data rate. So as you can see here, we have removed all the slashes. Let's check the unique values. We have one more unique value as new and this dash. So you can consider this as new restaurants and we'll replace these new and slash with rating 0. So column dot replace new and slash with 0 in place is equals to true. Okay, so you can see here that the data.info will check whether it has null values or not. It will give you the count of all the values and the d type. Basically, we have the rate column as object. Okay, so when we plot any plot, when we plot, okay, the distribution plot, suppose it will not plot because the rate is an object. So we have to convert it into integer or float. Okay, so we are converting the rate column into a float data type. Now you check the information, it's a float data type. Next, what we are doing is we will be calculate average rating. Calculate average rating for each restaurant. So we are drawing the pivot table. We are plotting the pivot table. Pandas.pivot table. We are supplying the data, and in the index we will be having the name of the restaurant, and in values we will be having rating. So let's check it. So these are the name of the restaurants, and this is the ratings. By default, it will give you the mean rating, like the average rating. As you can see here, suppose you want to see the parameters, you will click here and press shift tab. This tab will open up and you can expand it, so you can see the aggregate function by default is mean, and what all values you can put in aggregate function if you want to check. So you'll open this aggregate function here, so you can put like many values here. Suppose you want the count, you can put count also. Okay, so this is the average rating for restaurants. Now we'll sort this rating based on the descending order and check the who's having the highest rating. So Asia Kitchen by Mainland, this is having the highest rating. Spark Cuisine is having the highest rating, and BIG Brewski Brewing Cafe is having the highest rating. Now what we'll do is we'll plot this plot. Okay, we have plotted the bar plot for the top 20 restaurants. Okay, so these are the restaurants. Okay, Asia Kitchen by Mainland, this is the highly rated restaurant, and Spa Cuisine is the second highly rated restaurant. So we can see that the top restaurants have the highest number of average ratings. Now we'll check the distribution of the ratings column. For that, draw the distribution plot. Okay. For the distribution plot, you can see here, like this data is not normally distributed because we have replaced all the new restaurants with zero rating. That's why we see a spike here. Okay. And the rest of the restaurants, this distribution is a normal distribution here. Okay. But we can't consider the overall plot to be a normally distributed. Further, we can check this by the normalization test. Okay, I have written a piece of code using the normal test. Okay, you'll supply the column to the normal test, and if the p-value is greater than 0.05, it will be a normal distribution, and if it is less than 0.05, it will not be a normal distribution. So here, the plot is not a normal distribution because we have the records which are having values as 0. Now, if you want to check the top restaurant chains, okay, let's check the top restaurant chains. For that, we'll use the value counts. Like this value counts is for what? How many records are repeated how many times in a data set. So the highest number of restaurants are of Cafe Coffee Day. So this is the like top restaurant chain in our data set. So we'll plot the plot also. For that I've used bar plot, and in the x-axis I have supplied chains. What is this chains? Chains is the like name value counts and the top 15 chains. Okay, so Cafe Coffee Day is the top restaurant chain, second is Honesta, then the Empire Restaurant, and so on. So next question is, how many restaurants do not accept online orders? So we have one column called online order. Yes or no are the values. And for this, we'll draw a pie plot. So I have supplied X. X is what? The value counts. And in labels, we have supplied labels, that is accepted, not accepted. We'll supply a parameter called explode, which will, basically show the percentage. And this is for the rounding of percentage. So you can see here that 64.4% of the restaurants accept online orders and 35.6% of the restaurants do not accept online orders. Next, we have how many restaurants have table bookings. For table booking also, we'll repeat the similar steps and accepted and non-accepted. So we can see here 85.4% of the restaurants have had table bookings, and 14.6% of the restaurants do not have table bookings. Now we will analyze the type of restaurants. So we have one column, okay? We have one column called restaurant type. So this is the column called restaurant type, which has casual dining and more values if you want to see. Casual dining, cafe, casual dining, quick bites, and casual dining, and so on. We have many values. So let's check how many unique values we have. So we have many unique values in this column. So let's check what we can do with this column. Let's check the length. So we have 88 unique values. What we will do in this case also, we'll take the top 15 values. For that, we'll use the value counts method, like what this value counts method will do. Like if you feel confused in any code, just write the code separately and check. Okay, like I'm writing it here, restaurant type dot value underscore counts. So it returns the most occurring value. So quick bites restaurants are the most restaurant in our data set. So for the top 15 plots, we'll draw the bar plot. So you can see here quick bites is occurring the most number of times, casual dining, and so on. So this is the distribution of type of restaurants, and we observe that quick bites are top. So we can see analyze this also, that in Bangalore is like a metro city, so most of the people prefer here quick bite type, like MACD, like takeaways type. Okay, which restaurant had the highest voting? Okay, means count of voting, like which restaurant was given the most number of voting, not the like you can say not the most rated restaurant. I'm not talking about the most rated restaurants. I'm talking about like the number of rating which was given to that particular restaurants. Okay, so for that, what I'm doing is data dot group by name, like it will group by the name, and for votes column, it will calculate the average. Like you can see here, the name of the restaurants and the average number of voting, like average number of rating, you can say. This is not the rating, it is the count of rating. So we'll check the description also for votes. The mean value for number of rating is 201. Like you can understand this point by like around 201 of the individuals gave rating to the that hotel or that restaurant. Okay, so the maximum rating given was around 16,000 people have rated, 16,588 people have rated. Since we are getting percentage a point here because we are taking the average, like we are taking the mean. So what we'll do is we'll take the threshold value as 5,000 and we'll find out the top, top restaurants who got the most number of ratings. So the threshold value I'm taking as 5,000. Now what I'm doing is similarly I'm drawing the bar plot. So this is the plot, like this toy, this like this spice brewing caf company. These companies, like these particular restaurants got most number of ratings, like the individuals visiting to that particular restaurants were more, like the rating given to that particular, the count of rating given to that particular restaurants were more compared to others. So now let's analyze the highly rated restaurants and the worst restaurants based on the number of rating. Since that votes column we have, that shows the count of ratings. So based on the count of rating, we'll define a threshold value, or we'll take some threshold value and we'll find out the highly rated, the most rated restaurants and the worst rated restaurants. So this is the distribution plot for number of votes. So you can see here the any like the average, this is the plot. So 0 to is less than around 2000. Okay, most values are lying here. Next, what I'm doing is data dot group by name. Votes mean, like I have done earlier also. I have grouped by the name and I have taken the mean of the voting, that is the count of ratings, and I'm sorting it based on the votes column by ascending order, by descending order. So you can see here this BYG Brewski Brewing Company got the highest rating, like the number of rating was high. Now I'm defining a column in this particular thing only, in this particular data set, data frame you can say, name, in which I'll be, storing the name of the restaurant. Next, what I'm doing is I'm resetting the index. So you can see here that these are the values, these are the name of the restaurants, and these are the voting, that is the mean count of ratings given to the restaurants. Now, next step, what I'm doing is I'm merging the rating column on this particular data frame. In this voting rating, I'm merging the rate based on name. So these are the ratings which is given to these particulars. So this is the count of the rating and this is the ratings. Now what I'm doing is again I'm taking the threshold as 5 for the number of votes. So by taking this threshold, what I mean here is we are only taking those restaurants who got the count of a rating more than 5,000. That means at least 5,000 people have given rating to that particular restaurants. I'm taking only those restaurants. So these are the top restaurants who got the highest number of ratings, and their ratings are here. Now again what I'm doing is I'm sorting this based on descending order so that I get the top rated restaurants. I'm drawing, then what I'm doing is I'm drawing the bar plot. So these are the restaurants who got the highest rating based on highest count of rating. Highest rating also based on highest count of rating also, both the things. So this Brewski Brewing Company is the highly voted restaurant with average rating of 4.9. Now next what I'm doing is I'm analyzing the worst restaurants, like the rating whose the restaurants whose rating is greater than 0 and less than 3. I'm taking only those restaurants from that particular data frame. Okay, from this particular data frame. Now what is this particular data frame? This particular data frame, we have only those restaurants whose number of voting is high, like they got the most number of ratings. From there I'm taking the worst restaurants. Okay, So these are the restaurants who got, their count of rating were high, means the people are coming to these particular restaurants, but they are not giving good rating to these particular restaurants. That means there is something going wrong with these restaurants. Either their service is bad or the quality of food is bad. Okay, so we'll draw the bar plot for this. On the x-axis we are taking the ratings, and in the y-axis we are giving the name of the restaurants. So these restaurants have good votes given by the consumer, but less rating, which means there is something wrong with these restaurants. Next, what we have is location in which we have highest number of restaurants. How we will approach this problem? By similar manner, by using the value underscore counts method. What does this value underscore count return? It will return the number of times like that particular location has come in our data set. So you can hear BTM is occurring the most number of times, around 4,261 restaurants are present in BTM. In in Koramangalam, fifth block, we have around 2,381 restaurants. Now we have plotted the bar plot, like you can say the count plot for the location. So you can see here also that BTM is having the highest number of restaurants, and Koramangala fifth block is having the highest number of restaurants. Next, what we are doing is we'll identify the top 10 cuisines. Okay, let's check the top 10 cuisines. For this also we'll use the value counts method. So quick bites is occurring the most number of times. Casual dining, we have cafes. For this also we'll draw a bar plot. What I have done here is I've defined a cuisine variable in which I'm storing the value underscore counts. It returns the same thing only, the count of value occurring in the data set, and I'm printing it. Then what I'm doing is I'm drawing the bar plot. So you can see here most of the restaurants are North Indian, and we have North Indian Chinese also. So people in Bangalore are preferring these types of hotel, like these type of restaurants. Next question is check the distribution for cost of two people. So what we'll do is data cost of two people. We'll check we have any null values or not. So we have around 252 null values in this particular column. So what we'll do is we'll drop them by using axis equals to 0, that is the rows. Now let's check this column. Okay, so this column is object type. Okay, so in this particular column we can't perform any null, like numerical operations like mean and all we can't perform. Why? Because it is of d type object, so we have to convert it into like integer or float. But when we convert it into integer or float, like this comma, you can see here it will create a problem. Okay, so what we will do here is we'll define a function, okay, that replaces all these commas with a null value. So if we run this, we have applied the lambda function here. What this lambda function will do, like it will take the records from this particular column, approx cost for two people, and it will replace all the commas with a blank. This is a blank. Let's run this cell. Now what we can do is we can replace all the like values with, we can convert it into integer type. Now also if you check the unique values, like approx cost for two people, if you check this column only, we don't have commas here. Okay, we don't have commas, so it will convert into integer. So this is of integer data type. Now we can plot the distribution plot for approx cost for two people. So you can see here that the approximate cost for two people is around, if you want you can check the description also for it. Data approx cost for two people dot describe. So the minimum value is 40, the mean value is 594. So you can understand that most of the values are lying from 300 to, you can say, 1000. So most of the values are lying between 300 to 1000. Okay, this is the distribution for cost of two people. Now next what we have is I've written some conclusions, okay, which I have drawn from this data set. First conclusion is Asia Kitchen by Mainland China, Spa Cuisine, BYG Brewski Brewing Company, Punjab Grill were the best rated restaurants as we have seen in the first plot that we had drawn. Next is Cafe Coffee Day, Honesta, Empire and Just Bake, Kanti Sweets were the top restaurant chains. So these were the top restaurant chains. For this also we have plotted a bar plot. Next plot was 64.4% of the restaurants didn't accept accepted online orders and 35.6% did not accept. So for this we had drawn a pie plot. Next we have based on the most rated voted restaurants. So for this also we have drawn bar plot like for the restaurants who got the count of voting were high, like the persons who gave rating to those particular restaurants were high. Based on that, the best restaurants were BYG Brewing, BWSK Brewing Company, and the Black Pearl. Okay, these were the best restaurants based on count of rating, and the worst restaurants were Laziz and Tandoor Hut based on the count of rating. These were the worst restaurants. And next conclusion is BTM and Koramangala fifth block had the highest number of restaurants. For this also we have drawn a bar plot. Next conclusion is North Indian and Chinese were the top favorite of people living in Bangalore. For this also we have drawn a bar plot. And cost of two people for most restaurant, the last plot which I have drawn, like it was varying from five, like the most records were from most restaurants were from 500 to 1000 bucks. Okay, these are the conclusions I have written from this particular plots whatever I have plotted. So there are many more plots which can be drawn. Like one example I can give you is like you can take any location, okay, pick up any location from here and find out the top rated restaurants in that location. Okay, this can be one plot and many more plots you can draw on your own also. There is no limit to that. Okay, you can draw many plots, but it basically depends on the problem, like what kind of results you are trying to get from the data set. Based on that you have to plot the plots. Okay, next thing is I have one question for you. Okay, I have one question for you, which I want all of you watching this video to solve it and comment the result, like whatever answer you get, comment it in the comment section. So the question for you is, you have to describe a function, okay? You have to describe like that DEF, you have to describe a function that takes three parameters. And these three parameters are from the data set only. First parameter is cost for two people. We have a column called cost of two people, okay? We will take that column. One parameter is this one. We have location also, but I'll show you the columns only. So these are the columns. Okay, you will take approx cost for two people, this parameter, location, this is the location, and the restaurant type. This is the restaurant type. So you will describe a function and you will take these three parameters. Okay, cost for two people, location, and restaurant type, and whatever restaurants you get from that particular, that particular function, the result of that particular function, you have to return the name of the restaurants. Okay, suppose if you pass in cost for two people, if you pass less than 1000, location you pass BTM, and restaurant type, okay, what does the restaurant type have? In restaurant type, suppose I want casual dining. Okay, for that particular location and for that particular cost, you have to comment down the names of the restaurants, like whatever result you got. Okay, this is the parameters you have to pass. Comment below the names of the restaurants that fall in white field. So you have to pass the location as white field. Okay, the restaurant type you have to pass as casual dining, and the cost of two people you have to pass less than 1000 bucks. Okay, less than 1000. So whatever names of restaurants you get as a result, you have to comment down those names. Okay, so this is it. Thank you. I hope you liked the project, and if you have any doubts regarding this project, you can ask below in the comment section. Thank you.